Hi, my name is Ryan, and I'm one of many product managers here at Franklin Sports that helped engineer and design this table tennis table. Setting up some of these larger table games can sometimes be a little frustrating. So I'm here today to point out a couple key areas that'll help you along the process. The first step is to lay out all the components outside the box. You should be finding a smooth, level playing surface in order to do so. Once the components have been laid outside the box, the next step is to match up the components you've laid out with the components inside the instruction manual. You want to do this to assure you have everything you need to complete the setup of your table tennis table. Once you've matched up all the parts with what's inside the instruction manual, you're ready to begin setup. After the components have all been laid out, the next step is to line up the 4 quadrants of your table tennis table. This is very important because this assures that the rest of your install will go according to plan. So what you want to do is base your parts 1 and 2 by the Franklin logo on the quadrants. So this is the best way to lay them out. If you see here on the bottom, there's a Franklin logo. So if you lay them out accordingly, it will lay down like this. So before setup now, you'll have a Franklin logo in your bottom left-hand corner, and then you'll have one directly across the table on the opposite quadrant. The easiest way to assure that you've laid out the quadrants correctly is to begin step 1 by looking at the brackets onto the pilot holes. By examining to assure that the brackets fit comfortably onto the pilot holes, you've now assured that the quadrants are set up correctly. The next step is to screw on part number 12, the safety strap. The next step in setting up your table tennis table is installing the legs to the actual table. You'll see in figure 2 of your instruction manual that there's 2 different types of brackets. There's part 14, which is a bracket with a hole going through the middle, and there's part 38, which does not have a hole. For each leg, you'll be using 2 pieces of part 14 and 1 piece of part 38, which goes in the middle of your table. You want to be sure that when you attach the brackets to the legs, the holes on the brackets on part 14 are facing inward. This assures that the legs fold downward towards the center of the table. Now that the legs are all assembled to your table tennis table, we're going to move on to the linkage tubes. The linkage tubes are the most important aspect of setting up your table tennis table. What they do is when the table is all set and you want to fold it up for playback and storage position, the linkage tubes allow you to fold the legs. So let me talk you through this very closely because this is a very complex part of setting up the table. The linkage tubes are the red bars that came with your table tennis table. What you want to make sure of that is that on every outside leg, you set them up like this. You want the linkage tube to be on the inside of this leg and the outside leg that you're connecting it to. Let me show you how you connect your linkage tubes. You want to take the bolt that came with your set and you want to slide on the washer. Once they're on, you want to slide them through the outside of this leg to the inside. Once it goes through, you then want to put on a spacer nut. Once you put the spacer nut on, then you slide on your linkage tube. After you slide on the linkage tube, you add another washer, you add the closing bolt, and you tighten. After you have the end of your linkage tube connected, you now want to move towards the middle. Like I said, you're going to be starting on the inner side of the outside leg and the outer side of the middle leg. The connection on this is slightly different. What you want to do is you want to take your bolt, slide your washer on, then connect it through your linkage tube, put the spacer onto the bolt, and then slide the bolt through the leg. Once it's through the leg, you just add a washer on the end and a connecting bolt, and then repeat on the other side. After you're finished putting on the linkage tubes, the next step is to put on the aprons. I want you to note that before you start putting on the aprons, there's two different sizes. Part number 10, which are the longer two, go on the ends of the tables, which I'll show you in a moment. Part number 11 are the 4 smaller aprons. They go on the sides of the table. Please note this before you start installing. After the aprons have been installed on your table, the next step is to connect the spreader cover to the actual spreader. This is a very important step in installing your table tennis table. Please note that the sizes on these 2 bars are not the same, however they are very similar. One side is actually a little bit shorter than the other. The best way to reference this is to lay down 1/2 of your spreader cover and lay the spreader on top. There are pre-drilled holes in your spreader cover. As long as they match up with the bar when you put it on top, you know you have it at the correct angle. After you connected the spreader cover to the actual spreader, the next step is to connect it to the legs. You want to make sure that you separate the 2 halves of the table by about 1.5 inches to 2 inches, leaving just a little bit of space between the 2 halves. You then connect the spreader to the legs. The easiest way to know which side to use is to make sure that the spreader is actually facing inward towards the middle of the table and that the Franklin is facing downward, so it's upside down. You then use 4 bolts that go through the side of the legs here. You bolt them into the spreader, repeat on the other side, and then you're good for the next step. Be sure when connecting the wheels to the table that you screw on the bolt on the bottom of the wheel, not just the wheel on top. Be sure the wheels are in the locked position before folding over your table. Please have 2 strong adults step up to the table, lift it, walk to the ends of the table, walk the tables to the center, then have 1 strong adult lift the table while the other strong adult stands on the other end to stabilize the unit. Slowly bring down each side of the table so that it's sitting flush on the floor. After you've flipped over the table, the next step is to put the gravity lock on. You do this by taking a bolt and a washer and putting it through this open hole. After the bolt and the washer are through, you then put on a spacer on the other side to protect metal from touching metal. You take the gravity lock just like so, put it onto the bolt, add a washer, and then tighten with the last bolt, just snug enough so that the washer and the gravity lock can move freely. After you're done playing, whether it be a full tournament style game or in playback position, the easiest way to create some extra room for your area or to just maximize your current space is to fold up your table. The easiest way to do that is to fold up 1/2, then walk over to your other side, fold up this half. Notice the gravity lock will automatically lock your table in place. But for the extra feature, which you installed in step 1, is the additional clip. Simply take this over top of your table, take the other buckle, and clip them together. This assures that neither side will fall down during storage. The last and final step of setting up your table tennis table is attaching the posts and the net. Simply clip 1 post on each side and then slide the net onto the table. I hope this video helped you with your installation of the table tennis table. Please check us out at franklinsports.com for all your sporting goods needs.